Good morning, collective. I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome back to Path of Enlightenment Tarot. For those of you returning, welcome back. For those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. So this will be a daily collective message for Tuesday, November 8th, solar eclipse day. I hope that you guys had a chance early this morning to get out and see that, depending on where you are in the world right now. So, this will be our daily collective message. Take whatever is for you, leave the rest behind. Remember that not everything is going to resonate with you, and that's okay. Some people need to hear the messages, some people don't. So bear with me, guys. I don't know what's going on. My jaw is acting up this morning. I don't know if I was grinding my teeth in my sleep or what, but it happens. So a little bit of a sore jawbone this morning. I don't know what's up, but so let's get to it and see what's happening for you guys today. I hope everybody's doing fantastic. Using the Sacred Geometry deck. And hopefully you guys are working on full moon rituals last night, tonight, and tomorrow night. Make sure you're releasing things that are no longer serving of you at this time. All right, Spirit, let's see for the daily collective, please. Oops. The daily collective, Spirit. For everybody. Spirit's telling me one more, so let's go with one more and see what comes up. All right, so you've got 3 cards. You've got 10, which is authority. I'm using the Sacred Geometry deck. 39 is romantic love. 22, divine masculine, and laying underneath that is the divine feminine. So let's read these and see what's happening. So the frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. You know, when I think about that card, and the first thing that comes to me is the simple fact that, you know, when we're in authoritative roles, actually, we, you know, they say that true leaders create more leaders and not followers, right? So it's coming from a place that's non-egotistical. 39, romantic love. The frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with and reflection of a conscious lover. Very interesting. And divine masculine, 22, the frequency of divine masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. Divine feminine, the frequency of divine feminine supports our receptive, nurturing, and soft side, allowing it to express itself openly and helping us to connect to our intrinsic understanding of our connection to all of creation. So, romantic love. 3, 4, and 3. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this one for 1 second here. Talking about our experiences. Let's take a look. All right. Spirit is saying there's something that you guys might be missing at this time. There may be, I'm going to call it a struggle between the divine feminine, the divine masculine roles in your life at this time pertaining to love. I feel like one person may be trying to direct something while the other, it's almost like 2 people are very much in their own way of doing things. With this moon energy here, there's an understanding of enlightenment as to, I say understanding comes out. What roles 2 people are playing in a given partnership. Lust. Lust is underneath. Spirit is saying check the sources of where your love is coming from in regards to relationships around you. So this to me, Spirit is saying marriage. And to me, this is almost like, are you in a higher union for the right reasons? Very interesting message. And it's funny because it's coming in bits and pieces. It's not a solid message as I would call it to be. Let's see. I almost feel like this might be an obsessive type situation where our spirit is saying that it's almost like you're not on the same page, like you are, but you're not. So, you know, we know how I feel about love readings, but this is what this is, so we're going to go with it. Spirit is saying there's tension. There's tension between the two parts, and this may even be the two people who are in part in their divine feminine and divine masculine energy. I almost feel as both sides they're kind of tangoing with those energies internally. But somebody is coming to an understanding of this specific dynamic, where things may not have been seen or understood before. All of a sudden there's an understanding as to there's a need to liberate from a situation. So let's see what this is about. This is a little bit of a different message I don't think I've gotten in the past. So very interesting. For some of you, you may have choices in love. You may be trying to decide what those choices are for you and how they work, taking power and control of those situations, or trying to take power and control of those situations. So let's see. Okay, we've got action all tied up and indecision. You may, for some of you, you may be in a bit of a runner and a chaser type situation as well. You have 2 8s and a 5, so change is bound to take place here. Maybe not knowing what direction. You've got a second 5 there on the table as well. Maybe not knowing what course and direction to take, what action to take forward. But I feel like, you know, again, runner chaser, if you're dealing with karmic partnerships, twin flame type energies, you know, I'm become a firm believer in this life that twin flames are not always, they're so romanticized that they're not always meant to be what we think they're supposed to be, right? Like, they're not forever lasting partnerships. They come in to teach us, to reflect back to us what it is that we need to work on within ourselves. They can create very strong tower moments in our lives that create a massive change for us. It's a need to see this change occur in order to break ties of past patterns, habits, routines. You know, it's not as if, you know, most times I think people will marry what they believe is their twin flame, and I don't always think that's the best idea. But it's almost like you're starting to question a partnership, how it's going, where it's going, why it's going, where it's going, or how you've gotten to a particular point where you are. It's kind of like two people going back and forth continuously of, and Spirit is saying codependent toxic energies of, well, can you just stand still long enough to stick around? And then somebody's taking off and someone's coming back around, and it's a bunch of back and forth kind of energy. For some of you, you may have rushed into something. Now you're in a position where you're feeling a bit stuck, a little weathered, a little tied down. A lot of rushing kind of energy coming in initially is how this comes across. Yeah. 3 of Swords, Son of Pentacles in reverse, the 3 of Swords, and the 2 of Cups. So for this, I'm going to say that if you're trying to evade a space of heartbreak from the past, when you throw yourself into the next situation, that heartbreak is going to resurface. That heartbreak hasn't been healed yet. This energy, yeah, you've got the Son of Wands and the Tower and the Death card underneath. Capricorn, Scorpio again. You cannot get away from this transformative energy that's asking you to take a look. And when you're looking right now at these, you know, we had the solar eclipse this morning. We're going to be in this energy for a while for the post shadow of it. This may be bringing light to romantic partnerships or how you deal with yourself and love. Trying to balance out your divine feminine, your divine masculine, determining, which way to go. That person that you're dealing with may also be in a very similar space. So you're mirroring back to each other the pain or the hurt from the past that's not been yet resolved. You may be using this as a band-aid. Spirit is calling this a band-aid. You've got to ask yourself why you're in that space right now, how you got to this point, why you're in this point, For some of you, I feel like there's a lot of coming in and going out kind of energy. Again, like that runner chaser type situation happening for some of you. Let's see, the Sun. Like I said, band-aid, right? It feels good temporarily. It's a temporary fix to a situation. That Sun card was in there. I'd seen it and it popped out. You can find all the band-aids you want. You can do the temporary fixes, all that you want. But if there's not substance to what you're doing or who you're doing things with, that will always lead you to this position where things are all tied up, right? Getting yourself into a point that you don't know what to do next. So, got the Moon and the Ace of Pentacles. Hoping that something would work out different. But I feel like for some of you, you're missing a key piece. We've got the Hierophant and the Strength card. For some of you, I'm going to call this an indecision of whether or not a higher level commitment. Some of you, oddly enough, throughout this situation, you've got the Four of Wands, the Ace of Cups that came up, and I'm going to put those back in. It's, for some of you, as you check out of these situations, or maybe you're not feeling the best about the situation, some of you are maybe dealing with someone who's talked about marriage, creating a higher level of commitment between the two of you, pushing you into family type of dynamics, or trying to get things to move forward on another level. And I feel like Spirit is saying that wasn't your intention. This situation, this wasn't your intention. You're trying to take a time out, a pause, and reflect. And that's, you got the Four of Swords and the Two of Cups, Six of Pentacles, Two of Wands. It's, you're learning through this process, but in the same breath, it's leaving you feeling like you're very stuck, because it's almost like you're afraid of hurting another person's feelings, afraid of hurting them, hurting yourself along the way, that it took you a lot of strength to get to maybe a space where you let somebody in again. But now it's a space of feeling stuck again. So this indecision, we've got the Nine of Cups, the Four of Wands, just wanting to be happy. And the Fool, wanting to be happy, trying to decide if whether or not taking a new approach to things, a new avenue of things would make a difference for you. Yeah, and I almost feel like you've turned your back to whatever this situation is. It's a recognizing of the fact that you've come together for the wrong reasons. I don't know who this message is for. It's very odd to me for some reason. You've got the Eight of Pentacles, the Star, the Mother of Cups. Somebody does see you as their wish fulfillment. Somebody is seeing you as something that is going to be amazing, glorious. They find you very loving, very attractive, very beautiful, very everything. But I feel like you've turned your back to a given situation, not knowing what to do with it anymore. I feel like there's one side of it who sees this as glorious. There's another side of it who does not see it as glorious. You've got that Runner, right? Wow. For some of you, you got that Seven and the Eight of Pentacles right in a row. Seven, Eight of Pentacles, the Star, Mother of Cups. Like, it's like what your idea of wish fulfillment is. But this has left you at some type of impasse. So during, this eclipse season, you may have had somebody come back around into your life that you weren't expecting. It kind of threw you for a loop as to what you were going to do moving forward. I don't know. I feel disoriented with this reading. Very, very different. Very different. All right. This is a very specific message. Very specific message. All right, guys. Let's get a card of advice here for this reading. So strange. If you're in a runner and chaser dynamic, like, that's codependency. Just FYI. Massive codependency. Two people who can't get on the same page. You're both trying to... I almost feel like it's a little bit of a battle of wills, too, as to who's going to take charge, who's going to run the show kind of thing. So you're dealing with ego there. Ego is not healthy in any relationship. But I do, as somebody is seeing you as everything that glitters, you know, that type of situation. And I just feel like you're like 1 foot out. Another person's got 1 foot in. It's like there's a need to be, this is a time period anyhow with the eclipse season of rest and rejuvenation. And I think this is a point right now where self-care, if you're sitting in this all tied up energy and this indecision, now is the time to pause and reflect on the situation rather than making a decision at this time. So be aware of that. Be very aware of that. Sometimes no movement for a little while is the best kind of movement that you can make. So, all right, Spirit. Ooh, nothing wants to come out of this deck for me. There we go. Oops. We got 2 of them. Deer of Delta and Perfume of Sophia. I don't know. I feel as if for some of you, this was a matter of comfort. You got deer, 2 deers and 2 horses there. Interesting. A matter and a source of comfort was needed. Some type of reprieve. They may have brought you some kind of peace and solace. But now I feel like, for some of you, it's kind of looking back at a situation and asking yourself how that really works out for you in the end. When I talk about other options, it's not other options as far as people go in your life, but other options that may be requiring your attention. Divine grace is, it's funny, they just said divine grace is looking down on you. So if you're asking for assistance or whatever during this time, it's there. It's there. It's like the situation's being overseen. So the Deer of Delta, without any force, you can overcome even extreme negativities. Your real nature is gentle, which is powerful in its own unique way. You do not need to become something you are not. You can definitely and effectively invoke spiritual protection from the light. You can never be dominated or bullied at a spiritual level because the real you is always empowered and protected in the light. That reminds me of that authority card, right? Some things can only happen when we let go at the deepest inner level. Regenerative healing is one of them. Shamans of old understood that to obtain transformational energy awareness, one has to sever themselves from the world as it knows it, to unlearn what we once knew to be reborn. In that rebirth, a new understanding and vitality, clarity, and purpose can emerge. The shamanic realm is the realm of the delta brainwave, that state of deep sleep. Here one is completely unconscious. There is temporary paralysis at this level, which allows for the deepest healing and renewal. Here the gateway to the universal mind is entered and the precious recalibrating treasures of healing are gained. In Delta, we surrender completely to great and powerful intelligence far beyond our understanding. At 0 Hz to 4 Hz, delta waves are the slowest and most stabilizing of the brain waves. This is the state in which the body recovers from injury and the brain has a chance to check off its list of deferred repairs and healing and restore optimal function. This includes the capacity to learn and the healthy functioning of the immune system, physically and also emotionally, so we are not contaminated or confused by the emotional or psychic workings of the world around us. This oracle brings guidance that the healing you need cannot come from logical sources, but requires a deep letting go and restructuring from within. Consider what practices and people could help facilitate this process in your life. Consider how you may value and encourage deep restorative sleep, regular retreats as part of your life cycle or lifestyle. The Greek nymph Tegati called upon her beloved goddess Artemis to protect her from unwanted advances from a powerful suitor. In response, the goddess transformed Tegati into a doe, and so she would be safe from harm. I may not be pronouncing that right. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. Tegati teaches us that we can become vulnerable like the gentle deer in the spiritual sanctuary of our devotion, protected by a greater source. And that's what I just said to you, like, right? The divine was like the divine is watching. And I got that very significant feeling, like I could feel them see them looking down, right? Guiding, protecting the situation. Then there is no need to become aggressive or harsh to defend ourselves from the aggression of another. We can let go and allow ourselves to be held. This is the way to ward off negativities without needing to disconnect from our softness and grace. Even if you are dealing with intense negativities from a particularly powerful opponent, Deer of Delta encourages you to call for spiritual intervention with complete confidence in the grace that will instantly and constantly be bestowed. Your strength and power can flow with your spiritual connection. If you have been advised to toughen up, you're encouraged to instead remain true to yourself and find your strength within. To me, this is, I talked about, the runner, the chaser, right? Like, you may have very much gone into a space where, again, I told you earlier, this felt like comfortable, like a safe space to go to for some time. But that healing that it's talking about wasn't to come from someone else. It was to come from within you, to rely on source, right? So then we've got 12. This is a very, I don't know. This whole message just seems weird to me. I don't know. Probably shouldn't post it, but I'm going to because it's meant for somebody. All right, so Perfume of Sophia. You will be able to sense the best timing and approach to take to create space for healing and resolution. Connect to your body and ground yourself in the here and now with body-friendly practices. You will find your way intuitively and instinctively, even though confusing circumstances where one moment you are sure the answer is no, the next moment you are sure the answer is yes. Give up trying to figure out the answer right now and remain open. And I told you, taking that pause, no movement sometimes is movement. With positive but relaxed expectations, the clarity shall emerge spontaneously according to divine timing. Trust that your questions about life will be answered. Even now, you are in the process of working your way toward the answer that will bring you clarity and higher understanding. There is a kindness in how the universe delivers a message. There is a story of the 3 rabbis who went into a room and saw God. One rabbi dropped dead, the other went crazy, and the third one became enlightened. It was the same room and the same divine presence, so what accounts for the different outcomes? When we are ready for knowledge, divine guidance is incredibly helpful in healing. However, we may need certain experiences to become ready. There is much grace in veiling a truth as in revealing it. There is a beautiful Sufi teaching that destiny is granted with compassion. There is a time to prepare for knowledge, a time to receive it, and a time to live it. There is a danger in trying to force knowledge. Force is the desire to progress faster than is naturally taking place. It is a disconnection from natural rhythms, the sacred feminine, the power of knowing, and divine timing. The oracle of the Perfume of Sophia asks you to trust your nose. The spiritual symbolism of the ability to smell is the capacity for discernment. In the words of Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, a rose by another name would smell as sweet. The nose knows. As you lean into natural timing rather than trying to force something to happen, you'll remain connected to your own ground of being. You won't be pushing back to get ahead. You'll be in connection with yourself. You'll be able to see or to sense with your body and soul that which might otherwise confuse your mind, with its tendency to argue first one away, then the other. You will instinctively sniff out the truth of a situation, then you shall be able to do something useful with that knowledge. Developing the patience required to see us through times we cannot know something, and trust hopefully some equanimity is an important part of our soul journey. If such times evoke fearful and negative predictions or anxiety based on a lack of belief that you can deal with whatever arises with grace and dignity, then work on those issues. Do what you can do, leave everything else up to the loving and wise workings of the universe. If you are pushing for a resolution and answer and understanding before it is time for you to know, you'll feel frustrated. It will be more constructive and enjoyable for you to engage with what is. Will it require the development of your character, the capacity for patience, for trust and faith, for commitment and devotion? Even when there is no evidence, you shall succeed. Yes, likely it shall, especially if you are carving a path that is unique and creative. To live in such a way is wonderfully courageous and inspired and requires spiritual maturity, aligning yourself with the greater wisdom and timing and surrendering yourself in its service. It is the basis of spiritual maturity. You will have your answers, and in the interim, you are doing beautifully. Continue with your journey. So that, to me, it was like, talking about that push and that pull, I said somebody may be kind of pushing you into things that are higher level commitment that you're just not prepared for at this time. You're not ready for that. No movement. Again, I feel it's so important to say to you guys, no movement is movement. We're not always meant to just, this past energy of this rushing, rushing to get to a certain point, and then it just stops because it becomes uncomfortable, because it's like your spirit is nudging you. Your intuition is nudging you to slow down, whatever this is. Slow down, take the time out. Don't allow outside energies to influence where it is you're heading. If you have to take a break from that person or situation, then you need to do that. Interesting message, a weird one. Kind of, sort of, a little bit, right? Okay, guys, if you found this video resonated for you, hit that like button. I'm really curious on this one. This is different. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so. That's going to give you notifications each time a video gets posted. And then we'll see how this jaw feels. I'll get some signs out for today. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay well, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.